Hey everyone, this is LuckySevenDX. Welcome back to Let's Play Legend of Zelda Spirit Tracks. In the last episode, we completed the Tower of Spirits, we fought Burm, and now he's a good guy because Malleus resurrected and got pissed at him, and blah 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 cliche plot. But now we're going to head over to the desert because we need to get the Bow of Light in order to stop Malleus, and so on and so forth. Basically, in this episode, doing the desert, doing the Sand Sanctuary, and getting all the way to the next temple actually, because, you know, it doesn't actually take that long. It seems to be the general process is like, the final temple, like the levels always seem like it always seems like to be like really quick to get to the final temple of the game. Like think about for example Twilight Princess, the 8th dungeon was like really quick after the 7th one, and Link's Awakening, Turtle Rock was really quick after that one, and so on and so forth. There's generally like, a lot of those last dungeons seem to go pretty fast after the I guess that'd be the penultimate dungeon if you consider like the final dungeon to be where like Gandorf usually is or whatnot. I don't know. I never know whether I never really assessed whether to count like Hyrule Castle and Ocarina as like a dungeon, or Hyrule Castle and Twilight Princess for that matter as a dungeon. I've never really. I'm not sure if I would call those dungeons or not. I don't know. It's always kind of complicated, I suppose. But anyway, we are going to be heading over to the Sand Sanctuary. But first, well, there's actually a bunch of rabbits to get from first of all, and there's also those giant statues. Now, as you saw, I drew a line from the statue to where it was looking at. There's 4 statues. There's 2 pairs of one of them. They're looking at each other. We're gonna match those statues up, and they're gonna cross at a point. We're going to need that later. Now, normally you'd go to the Sand Sanctuary, you'd see that, and then you'd come back and you'd be like, oh, well, you need to go out and do this, and then you'd go out and you'd do the statues. I'm just taking care of that now. Also grabbing the rabbits. In this episode, actually, we're going to be getting all 9 remaining desert rabbits, and we're gonna make it all the way to the Sand Temple, like I said. So it's just like, you know, so much stuff going on in this episode. Super exciting because like we're just getting a lot of stuff done, and that's always really. I'm always really glad to have a very productive episode like this, especially with such a side quest heavy game where we've had so many episodes that weren't productive at all. But you can already get a general. I mean, you really only need those 2 statues because you can already get a pretty general idea where you're gonna match up. And unfortunately, because this map is so small, it's really hard to see precisely where they're gonna match up and like estimate precisely where this point is, which is going to come into play later, because as you're going to see, this game wants you to be really precise for this puzzle coming up, but you can't be. Anyway, what I should be talking about is these enemies that I've been fighting for a few times here. These sand sharks. Sand sharks! Why are there always sand sharks? Like, so many games have sand sharks. Like, they have Mario and Luigi series have had sand sharks, and the Final Fantasy VIII had sand sharks, if I remember correctly. And now Zelda has sand sharks. Freaking Pokemon has a sand shark. Freaking Garchomp. And his whole line, that's a sand shark. So what is it with sharks and people wanting them to be in the sand for some reason? I don't know. They should stay in the water where they belong. There's another rabbit over here, so we're going to grab this one. But that's basically the gist of this. You go around, you quickly use the landscape here. Because you know those kind of statues. If you've seen the pattern before of sanctuaries, you know... I missed the rabbit. Darn it! This is actually a pretty good rabbit to miss, though. You'll see why in a little bit. That was actually going to be really easy to get back, so that's not a big deal. So, Statue dude right here, we're going to quickly match him up. You can pretty much see that he's going to intersect completely with this line that we already drew before. So, we'll just draw another one for no reason whatsoever. There's really no reason to do that. Really, I think it's probably best to actually put the 2 points down and then draw a line between them, because that's more accurate, but I just sort of did it like this. And then we're going to quickly go. I'll quickly show off where the other statue is. But if you've seen the past patterns before, you know that when there's these those kind of statues in a sanctuary, that it just involves. I mean, every sanctuary has had a puzzle involving those sorts of statues. So, I mean, you should be kind of used to it by now, I suppose. You can see, you know, which ones are. You know that once you see those statues, you have a drawing puzzle to do of some sort, or just some sort of puzzle involving those statues. So, as you're going to see in the Sand Sanctuary, there aren't any statues in there. The ones that we actually have to use are the ones out here. And you're going to see why we need to draw these lines really soon. Once you see the layout of the Sand Sanctuary, it's going to be a bit more obvious. I didn't really talk about the sand sharks. I had a rant about them, but I never really talked about them. The way you fight them, if you haven't been paying attention, the way I like to fight them is I like to look at them and wait for them to try to attack me, and then hit them at the last minute, which is risky. As you see, I've gotten hit a few times by them. But if you have good timing, you can kill them before they hit you, and I generally find that to be the most accurate, or the quickest way to deal with them. The other option is to use your whistle, and it'll cause them to come out of the sand, at which point you can actually hit them with a cannonball. However, the timing between you having to hit the whistle and then immediately switching over to a cannon shot, I always find that really hard to pull off. So I've always just sort of stuck with, you know, baiting them. The one that you're looking at is always the one that will attack you first. So don't worry about them blindsiding you as you're trying to look at one, waiting for him to attack. Others are not going to attack you. They're only going to attack you if you're looking at them. Which I guess, I don't know if you just ignored them for long enough, if they wouldn't actually attack you at all. But as long as you're looking at one, that one will be the first one to attack you, at which point you can kill it. So that's the basic way to do that. One more rabbit in this section. The other rabbits are elsewhere in sand areas, which at some point we're going to be going up to the mountain realm. That one pathway I didn't quite show, that just leads up to the mountain realm where we've connected it before. One of the Force Gems connected that track. So that's not a path I'm going to really bother showing off, because we've already seen the majority of that track. It's just the tunnel. Like, just the entranceway is the only part of it we haven't seen yet, so I'm not going to worry about that too much. But now we're going to head to the Sand Sanctuary. We're going to go find the Lokomo, do the song, the usual song and dance here, coming up here. Like I said, it's a little quicker though, so the whole process of getting to the Lokomo, especially because we've already taken care of the statues, is actually going to be a lot quicker now. So what we're going to do is we're going to stop here and we're going to do this puzzle now. Now the thing about the Sand Sanctuary is, as you're going to see in a second, there's 2 islands in the lower right corner. We can't access those yet, because we don't have the means to, and that's where the stamp station is. So we cannot get the stamp station yet. It's going to actually end up being the last stamp station we get in the game, and that's going to happen after the next dungeon. So stay tuned for that, I suppose. But that's why we're not going to be picking up any stamp station here. But there is one here. Number 20 is going to be here. So we'll have to come back and pick up this later. You'll see how we're supposed to get it. It actually involves one of the Force Gem side quests that we need to do. So that's how we're going to get it, right down there on the island. Now, another thing you could have noticed when you went to look at the thing is the formation of the paths on this in the Desert Sanctuary should be really familiar, because it's actually a carbon copy of the rails of the desert part of the tracks. You know, the tracks we've just been going on. This is actually a carbon copy of it. So what we can do now is, well, that's how the puzzle works. Is the statues are outwards, so we know those statues are they cross on a certain area, and on the area where all the statues' gazes cross. That's the area on this part of the Desert Sanctuary that we need to go to, and we need to actually bomb that area in order to get the Sand Sanctuary to come out. Now, these statue guys are going to be explained what I just said. I kind of got a little bit ahead of myself, but that's the basic gist of it. So use those statues. You see where the gaze cross, which, as you can see, it's in that lower rectangle. It's like this lower rectangle a little bit south of where I am right now, actually. A little bit downwards from where I am. That's where the Sanctuary is going to be found. Even then, though, it's really hard to pinpoint exactly, and you need to be really precise with it. You're actually going to see where I'm talking about right now. Right there, that little rectangle on the bottom right there, that's precisely, that's where we're going to bomb. So the upper part of it, the problem is I think I drew it a little too far to the left. It's actually a little, it's upwards and to the right of that rectangle. So as you're going to see, I'm going to throw a bomb over here in the middle, and it's actually not going to work because you have to be really precise with it. It's kind of annoying how precise you need to be, so I'm going to speed this up because it takes me a few bombs to actually figure out the precise location. It's like I said, it's a bit more to the right than I'm actually aiming, if I remember correctly. So this one's not going to work. This is the one that's going to work, though. So I throw it, and keep a memory of this location if you're playing the game alongside here, because you want to throw it right there. Actually, it's not that far to the right. It's sort of like, yeah, it's upper right-ish. Actually, now that the stairs appeared, like, it was distinctly more upper right-ish. I must have caught, like, the lower left corner of that, which is, I suppose, fortunate. You can kind of tell where it is because the graphics are a little glitchy there when you're throwing the bomb there, but it's still pretty hard to tell. But that's basically how this thing's going to work. So now we are in here. It took us less than 10 minutes to get all the way to the Lokomo already, which is not bad. That's actually a pretty good. That's making some pretty good time progress. So this guy is named Rail because that's just kind of funny. See, Rail, I got a little ahead of myself again. So we have Embers, you know, and Rail, and so what is it? What it's Gauge, Rail, Embers. I don't remember the other two. Carbon, and who the hell is the first one? Oh, Steam. That's the second one. So all of them train names, kind of funny. Engine, Burn, Coal. Just like I said before, the names are really funny. Anyway, this rhythm's a little weird because it's actually in 3/4 time as opposed to 4/4 time, which could throw you off a little bit. Wow, that was horrible. Plus, there's more notes than before, although there's only one gap of 2, so it's not anything too hard to worry about. But yeah, the 3/4 time might throw you off just a little bit, so just keep that in mind. Just learn the timing, and then you should be pretty good to go. I'm just gonna. None of those attempts were that great, but I'm just gonna go for it anyway. I feel confident in my ability to play the Spirit Flute. We're going to do this. Let's do it. All right. Here we go, playing the song, going to be successful, gonna unlock the spirit tracks. Can we do it? It's actually the song's a little easy because as you're gonna see in a second here, he actually plays your rhythm. Actually, 2 times he does the rhythm, so you can just copy him sort of, and that makes it a little bit easier. In my opinion, Ambrose is the hardest one actually, so because his rhythms are really weird compared to yours, and although this one has some weird harmony now that you have to keep track of. Also, I kind of like I like this tune. It's really like minor and stuff like that. It's, in terms of the major minor sort of music talk, I guess. It sounds really cool. So yeah, we did get it that time. Not too bad. I'm just gonna quickly do my little thing and play the extra bit because it sounds cool. And time to shut up, Lucky. I feel like that song was distinctly longer than the other ones now that I think about it. It actually took quite a while. But that is the song. I really think it's pretty cool. Where do all those other instruments come from, though? Where are these drum sounds and everything else come from? It makes no sense. But that is the last of the Lokomo songs. So, not bad, though. Those, I think they're pretty... I'm going to miss them. I always love doing the songs. I always find that to be a really fun part of the game. So, anyways, as Rail is saying, let's keep track of the actual plot here and keep on the plot. There's going to be 3 trials we're going to need to pass, and because I don't feel like ending the episode like 12 minutes in, we're going to be doing those 3 trials now! And that's going to be pretty awesome. So, 3 trials, the Eye in the Dark, the Twisted Tracks or something like that, and the Impenetrable Temple, I think are what they're all called. I'm pretty close, I think, at least. So first up is going to be the Eye in the Dark. You guys might be able to guess, if you think about the past, what that could be. If you think about past episodes, you might be able to figure it out. But actually, the convenient thing is, in order to get up to these new tracks, which have to be over there, they're actually in the Fire Realm. Most of the tracks are actually in the Fire Realm that we need to go to. But we actually passed right by the one rabbit we missed. So quickly into Chipmunk my way over there, get the rabbit, and then we can head up to the trials and start those off. And apparently I got hit by a shark. Stupid sharks! Get out of here, Garchomp! Don't want you Pokemoning up in my face. It's really annoying. Anyways, rabbit. Gonna get you this time. You're mine. Did I miss that one, really? No. Come on, there we go. Not bad. That wouldn't take too long. Rabbit, rabbit, rabbit. Always such a pain in the ass. I really should erase the marks this real map because it looks really freaking ugly. I'm not gonna be showing it right now, but this just the giant X in the middle of the map. It's just like, why are you here? But anyways, so onwards to the first trial. It's right here in this tunnel. It makes sense because, dark usually involves tunnel. The Great Eye in the Dark. Okay, it's close enough. Yeah, it gives me the creeps too. That doesn't sound very fun. Eyeballs in the dark. And if you guys might have guessed, yep. Oh crap, it's that dude again. The Rock-Tite. Freaking hell. Yeah, I told you guys he'd be back, and he is indeed back. I do think the way I'm recording messes with the darkness. I think it's supposed to be darker in here, but it doesn't affect the fight that much, because you can still see his eye always pretty clearly at all times. I think it's almost creepier to see his full body coming at you. But yes, the Rock-Tite fight. It starts off the same way it did before. You just shoot him in the eye repeatedly with your cannon. This is way back in episode 10 or 11. This is 30 episodes, almost 30 parts from the last time we've seen him. So yeah, you see him early in the game, and now you see him late game as well. That's one big ass bug. However, at one point he actually mixes things up. He's smart enough to actually keep his eye closed from now on, so you can't hit it. So what you need to do is there's going to be explosive barrels throughout the tunnel. Hit the explosive barrel, it'll make him open his eye up, and then you can hit him quickly before he catches up to you. If you miss the explosive barrels, then you get in trouble because he's almost definitely gonna hit you if you miss the first couple barrels. And even then, he gets pretty close to you. So he does 2 rounds of open, 1 round of closed, 1 round of open. I think the last 2 rounds are both closed eyes. So luckily there's a barrel right there. That's gonna make things really easy to hit him there. And we're gonna quickly, come on, kill him. There we go. And then he's going to do one more round of closed. And I think I can hit that barrel. Yes, I can. Look at that. Pro as hell. Hitting the barrel from a long distance away. And that Roctite is down. That is Trial 1 complete. No problem at all. Taking that one down. Now, the thing about these trials are, Trial 2 is really easy. But Trial 1 and Trial 3 can be really strenuous in your hearts. If you're really bad for the Roctite, he can do a lot of damage. I think I just hit my mic there, so I apologize if that's audible. And then the Twisted Tunnels are up next. So you don't want to go back, by the way, because you have to go through that whole tunnel, and you have to fight everything. You have to fight all the little mini Roctites. That's always annoying. Now, there's going to be 3 rabbits in these Twisted Tunnels, and I'll explain how they work when the mechanics actually shut off. But first, we're going to catch a rabbit. But yeah, Trial 1 and especially Trial 3, really strenuous on your health. At this moment, you might want to switch back to the wooden train if you have it, and or any other train that you've completed, just to get the 6th heart, because this is a section of the game where you could easily lose all your hearts and die on, and that's not something you want to do, because it's, the Roctite can take a lot of damage, but Trial 3 especially can do a lot of damage to your train. You're going to see why in a little bit, and basically, well, let's quickly explain the Twisted Trials, the Twisted Tracks, Twisted Trials, I forget what they're called, but basically, you have to figure out the right path to go. It's very Death Mountain-esque from the Legend of Zelda 2 Link's... Oh, I was going to say Link's Awakening, but that's not true. The Adventure of Link, there we go. Now, what you need to do is you need to do the right path. Now, the right path is actually you have to go backwards through the tunnel you came from, and then the second one, you have to go backwards to the tunnel you came from again. So you have to go backwards twice. Kind of weird that they did that twice. And then this one, go right, both because there's a rabbit over here, and because it's actually the right way to go. And that is, that's all you have to do for the Twisted Trials. Really simple and easy, just, go backwards, and then go right. That's all you need to do to get through it. Really shouldn't be that much of a trial. The term trial is a little bit of an over-exaggeration, in my opinion. However, there's another rabbit to get, so let's get him. Come on, no, there we go. Get in my thing. I'm glad we got these ones, because these ones would be a pain in the ass to go back and get through. You have to go through all the Twisted Trials again to get those 3. They do seem to be, those 3 always seem to be really easy to get, though. In 3 runs of this, I've never missed those 3 rabbits once. So I don't know if they're just programmed to be easier to get or something, but I've never really had any problems with those 3 rabbits, luckily. So onwards, down back to the Ocean Realm, where we're going to be almost at the Sand Temple, because as you're going to see right here, the Sand Temple is actually right there, and the Sand Temple itself is going to be our 3rd trial, the Impenetrable Temple, makes sense. But first, there's actually a warp here. This is going to take you to the warp we saw earlier back in the desert. So, there's a warp from over here back to the desert, so you don't have to do any of the first 2 trials over again. Well, you don't technically have to do the Giant Roctite ever again anyway, but just to avoid that long path in case you need to go back, they gave you a nice shortcut here, which is really kind of them. There's really no connection from the Sand Temple to anywhere else. I don't think that connection ever gets finished. I think there's always they always want you to use the warp to get back from the Sand Temple back to the Tower of Spirits. So they won't ever give you a connection back to the desert, even though they easily could have. I'm not sure why they didn't. But there's a warp here, so that's the easy way to get back over here when you need to. So, and it's also a good idea to, you might want to, if you're low on health, you might want to go around and kill sharks and blow up rocks in order to get health here. Because this next section, like I said, very strenuous on your health. No, I don't want to do that. You want to make a path like that. That's, I think, in my opinion, the optimal path for handle. Well, it might actually be easier to go left and go around the other way. I've never tried doing it like that. That actually might be a little easier, because the part that you take the most damage on is the first part of this temple, which you're going to see. But first, before we do the temple, there's another rabbit. 2 more rabbits left to get. We've got 7 out of 9 already in this video, so this is number 8. And for some reason, this rabbit always gives me so much trouble. I don't know why. Like, I don't know. It's just this one rabbit, I can never get him. He's just a freaking speed demon. Look at him go, freaking thing. So we're just going to quickly go back and get that one, because there's warp right there. It makes it really easy to just backtrack and grab him. It'd be also just as fast to go back for the fire round, but I have to do the warp, even though the whistle's really annoying. Whistle noise, really annoying. Really, really annoying. But here we go, back into the Ocean Realm, and we're going to try to get this rabbit one more time quickly. Can we pick him up this time? Because rabbits are a pain in the ass, and I want to catch them in my net and make them go frolicking. Because frolicking is fun. And that's the 9th rabbit. So, Impenetrable Temple, the 3rd trial we need to deal with before we can access the Sand Temple. Basically, all it is the temple has, wait for it, a bunch of cannons! That's right, there's a ton of cannons attached to this temple, and they will shoot the shit out of your train if you're not careful. So what you need to do is you need to destroy all of them in order to gain access to the temple. Every single cannon needs to go down. But this first section, like, there's just so many cannonballs, and I can never get this right, so gotta be really quick about this. Just destroy these 3 cannons, and I always have like 2 hearts during this section. Hit as many rocks as you can. You want to get that health back up as fast as possible, just because these next... Oh, crap! Okay, 1 hit left. Come on. Gotta be careful. The cactuses do make good cover time. Oh, that was close. Come on, destroy that one. There we go. It's 2 sides done. I'm going to take a quick breather, because over here, actually... you might miss this if you're going too fast. This is actually our final desert rabbit, so quickly going to pick up this rabbit as well. I wonder if there's anyone who looked at the description, like, or has been keeping track of the rabbits, and saw it spike from 39 to 48. This is the 48th out of 50 rabbits. There's only 2 more rabbits to go now. We only have 2 more rabbits to get in that game. That's just mind-boggling. Like, after all the stress we've gone through, just 2 more rabbits to go, and that's it. No more rabbits ever again. Like, so happy. But anyway, these last 2 parts of the temple are a little easier to handle. This one you can kill pretty quick before it can reach you, and this one you can generally... if it's a one-on-one versus it, it's not that hard to hit the cannonball. It's when there's like 3 or 4 that are shooting at you where you just like panic and everything goes to pieces. And we already destroyed one of these cannons over here, so we just have to destroy these 2 and not get hit. Well, I actually have a hit to spare now, so I should be okay. And that's going to be the final one. So that is... the impenetrable temple, guys. Could have sped up this section a little bit heading back, but I'm just gonna swing around and go back to the temple. I figured there's no reason to speed up the celebration. But that's all we have for this episode, guys. Basically, in the next episode, we're going to be in the Sand Temple. Now, the Sand Temple, I'm expected to take... this game is actually starting to wrap up, actually. 2 episodes I'm estimating for the Sand Temple. Probably about 4 or 5... no, definitely 5. 5 or 6, probably, for... final side quest stuff to pick up. Yeah, I'd say probably about 5 or 6. And then after that, I mean, the game's gonna be wrapped, because there's actually a lot of pretty long side quest stuff to access after this for some really good, nice stuff, though. So the rewards are definitely gonna start coming together after this temple. And then after that, it's just gonna be, you know, there's gonna be the game is just gonna start to wrap up here. So I'd say probably another like 12, 13 episodes, I'd say, or so. Well, listen, I'm wondering if this is going to end up being the longest LP I've ever done. It might actually end up being that by a few videos. But here we are in the Sand Temple. This temple's honestly a little annoying and pretty tricky, so we're going to see how well it goes next time. But this is LuckySevenDX signing out. In the next episode, guys, we have a dungeon coming up, and that's always nice. So I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.